Ewetopia Farms today.
We seem to have better luck with the drier wrapped hay. He's a ram that it's really hard to fault him for anything, really.
Look, no halter. No halter.
We're really trying to breed away from monster sheep now. And here's a nice looking Dorset. They were beginning to question the selecting for the RR gene only.
Let's get started.
Of course, we make sure everybody's fed every morning, including these guys. And if they're out of hay, everybody gets a fresh bale rolled in. Usually this is the routine each morning because one bale typically lasts each barn, which has 100 to 125 sheep in it. The bale will last one day. So the feed is looking good today. Not all bales are as good as others, but this bale is extremely nice. No mold whatsoever. It's a little bit drier. We seem to have better luck with the drier wrapped hay. Other people say they have better luck with the wet wrapped hay, like really wet. I don't know. But I know for sure it works better for us. To keep the bales fresh, we often have a little center core left over from rolling it out on our feeders. Our feeders, well, in this barn the feeder is 120 feet long, I believe. And we bring the center core to the barn with the rams because there's not as many sheep in there. And with wrapped hay or wet hay or silage or whatever, you want the sheep to eat it all up within 24 hours so it won't mold, because wet hay will mold. Not so much in the cold weather, but it still will. So we want it fresh, and that way our sheep are getting fresh feed every day. Okay, Arnie wanted to do a ram of the day, and so I think it was yesterday I mentioned that our favorite ram so far looks to be Morpheus. He's a Gladiator son. Arnie's just caught him here. We managed to keep the height down a little bit. He's not tiny, but he's definitely not large. He's got, show him that wool and the hair on his head, how it's supposed to be for a Suffolk.
Split right off, see? Not blended in.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really distinct line with Suffolks. That on their head and ears and legs, it's actually hair, and you want that delineation between the hair and the wool. Yesterday I showed you his curly ears, which we like too.
He has a little curl in his ear for something. He has a bell.
That's
he
right.
has another little indent in the ear too. It's kind of odd.
It's supposed to be that is the curl. And if we look down at his legs, let's see if I can. Luckily there's no straw here, so you can see that he's really well up on his pasterns. He's not knocky-kneed or anything like that. And he's going to try to get him out here without all the others coming out.
If you look at the back here, look at how this neck here, this shoulder here, just comes right in like a wedge, see? Thick in here. And he's not walking downhill, and he absolutely has no dip at all. And if you look at his back feet, look, he's right up on his toes.
Well, you got to push him over this side. There we go. He's not knock-kneed, he's not bow-legged. He's up on all his pasterns. He's got good length to him. No dips.
Got the Roman nose.
Yeah, it's he's a ram that it's really hard to fault him for anything, really.
$3,000 ram.
Probably more. I mean, we pay more than that for a ram like that. But he's a QR, and I'm guessing we're going to use him.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've said it so many times that it seems like the QR rams are always the best.
Look at the temperament. Look how nice he is.
Gladiator temperament.
This guy As a
He's-
lamb,
he's a
didn't
twin.
really stand out, but he stands out now.
Well, he did. I had 4 Mark that I really liked, and he was one of them.
He's got the right hips on him, the shoulders, he's just like a box right through.
Yeah, he's, yeah, sometimes as they grow on, they'll have a nice rump, but the shoulder starts to kind of get a little narrow. Some people want narrow shoulders, but
Look at that neck.
if you can see his neck, it's harder on camera, but you can see it's basically the same width from shoulders down to rump, and it's wide. Like, show how wide he is. Like,
Oh yeah, look. See, there's just no indent at all. See, it's filled right in. Now I know he has wool on him, but
oh,
even,
you can.
even if he had wool, you could pick it out.
He has very little wool. They were sheared not too long ago. Like, you could show him with this amount of wool on. It's not a lot. He's not sculpted in any way. He is what he is. And we're happy that he's a glad son.
Oh, get that foot back. Just show people what that good. There you go. I learned that with showing sheep. Those couple of years we showed sheep.
And show from the shoulder to his knees there how the depth.
In here.
Yeah, from.
Oh yeah.
See how it doesn't indent? It's kind of
Does
like.
an indent like this.
Like a lot of sheep will indent there like kind of a V. It'll pull up under the shoulders there, under the armpits, I mean. And his is kind of level, so he's like a box.
And for a 10-month-old ram lamb, you can't get him any longer than that. Like, that's as long as they come. That's a long ram.
And he's got good square face. Let's see his face. See, good square muzzle. He looks rammy. You don't want a ram to look too feminine.
Oh, he has a good bite.
Oh, and it looks like he lost one of his baby teeth.
No, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think they're just filling in.
Oh.
He's 10 months old. That's a beautiful ram.
So this guy, we're naming him Morpheus. He's a twin from Gladiator. Gladiator's a
In
triplet.
other words, he's not going to go anywhere. We're going to use this guy. This guy's a bruiser. Look, no halter. No halter. Walk. See what you look like. Come on, can you walk? Can you walk? Come on. Come on. There you go. Oh, don't let it go. Come on, walk a little bit. Walk a little bit.
Oh,
Okay, put your foot back.
good testicles too. We forgot to mention that. We find a lot of the Suffolks, not at our farm, but when I see them at the shows, they seem to be having small testicles, like way smaller than we would like. He's good on all that as well. And he's just not a monster. We're really trying to breed away from monster sheep now. These are much more practical to raise, look after, everything. Feed. I'll let them out now.
We're thinking about taking him in the house.
Sure.
Okay, buddy. In with your cousin.
Is there anyone else in there you like?
On the feet.
Here's another one we like. He's 650. This guy, we've called him Matrix to go with the whole Matrix theme. I know he's a twin, and I know he's a QR, and he's very similar to the other guy. I got to double check to see whether he's Knockout or Gladiator, but I have a feeling he's Gladiator as well.
This one.
He kind of has a Gladiator face on him.
Well, you can't see it. This one here has just a little bit of a wider muzzle on it.
Wider.
A little wider.
Okay.
So there's a little bit bigger lips or cheekbones or
We want a wider mouth. The wider the mouth, the better. That usually they'll have better teeth, better eating. It just looks more masculine.
but see, you see he's right up in his holes?
We got another one right behind you there.
Oh, don't. Yeah.
Who are you, buddy? Oh, that's the other. That's the other Gladiator one. That's 670. That one's an RR.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one's the RR. This one I know is a QR. Here's one from Knockout. He's 627. There were 4 in here that I really like. This is another one. He also is a twin. I believe he's a twin.
This is a second crop from Knockout, his son. But that's the biggest guy. This sheep, of all the lambs, this is the biggest guy
Yeah,
for thickness.
he's a real, he's heavy, another really nice ram.
Hard to
I
believe
think he's a single. I got to double check that.
Hard to believe it's only 10 months old.
And here's a nice looking Dorset.
I was leaning towards the larger ones, but this little guy is a little bit better set, I think.
I don't know anything about this one. We didn't DNA test our Dorsets because we tend to have all our Dorsets. But we might DNA test a few of them just to double check. But I don't think we ever have found one that wasn't.
He knows how to stage himself.
Well, he got someone in his way right now, so I can't. No, there's
Maybe
someone
he knows
in.
the camera's on.
There's someone in his way. I can't see him. There, now I can kind of see him. There we go, buddy.
I like it. He's well set.
Here he comes. He's the type that will jump in the feeder. If you don't hang on to him. And Arnie just rolled out that little core of the bale, and you can see it was enough to feed all these sheep for a day. So we're able to utilize an entire bale each day by keeping it fresh. So you heard me mentioning that those rams that we really liked were QR. And we have RR. We're DNA testing our rams for that QR, RR, QQ designation. You don't want QQ in your sheep because it means they have no Scrapie resistance whatsoever. And Scrapie resistance is an awful disease that sheep get that nobody wants. It's something that if it gets in your flock, they will condemn your flock, and they'll condemn other farms in a radius around your farm as well, because it's a contagious disease. So if you have Scrapie resistance in your sheep are always protected from getting that. A QQ sheep is not protected from the disease at all. However, a QR and an RR will both carry Scrapie resistance, with the RR carrying 100% resistance, whereas the QR only is resistant to some strains of Scrapie. I guess there's different strains of it. But for export to the United States, a QR ram is acceptable too. And we have noticed, and we have, as you can see, hundreds and hundreds of sheep to choose from. So we get to see firsthand every year for 25 years the differences in QR, QQ, and RR sheep. And there does, in my opinion, seem to be a little bit of difference. We have lots of RR rams because show people and purebred people want to keep that Scrapie resistance. It's a selling point as well. However, the majority of people in Canada anyway either don't know what Scrapie is or don't care. So we do use QRs as well if we have some exceptional ones. And over the years, we have found pretty well 100% of the time that the QR ram is always the better one. From the same lamb crop, same sire, everything. And we have a friend in Wales who's a sheep judge and raises sheep and has been doing this for years and years and years. And he told us that in the UK, they were beginning to question the selecting for the RR gene only because they thought it might, when you select for the RR, you're removing something that was in the QR genetic code, and that something might be something you need. So it's almost like GMO, like you're modifying the gene strands. Not artificially, you're selecting and culling out for it, But I was wondering, especially for people who are DNA testing their sheep, and especially people in UK where they've been doing this a lot longer than we have, if other people are noticing the same thing. And I'd be real curious if there is any studies, scientific studies, not observational, because ours are observational studies, but actual scientific research studies showing if there is any link to the health of the sheep, the conformation, anything like that between a QR and an RR. Is breeding only for a certain type going to weaken your flock overall? Because once the Q is gone, it's gone. So you kind of wonder, because I've been doing a lot of research on GMO recently and modified feed and stuff, and it's pretty scary, the results of modifying things or removing things that you don't particularly want. And in the long run, you find that it's not so beneficial after all. I can totally see having the R in there because you do not want Scrapie. But should you inject that QR into your flock just a little bit to maintain the overall genetic integrity of the sheep? I don't know. Does anyone else have any opinions, or have they heard anything else? Have they noticed anything? I'm curious if anyone else is even interested in that.
So one way what I really like about when we feed grain to the rams, and what I enjoy about this part here is as I'm feeding, I'm looking down the backside, and I'm looking for the good square sheep. So there's Lynn's favorite right there. And I'll see if he comes in or not. So it's hard to pick out, but you're just looking for that good square, good top line on that sheep. So when I feed, I can make a little judgment who I'm really looking at. There's another good Suffolk right there. See, built just like a box, right down the back. So that's one thing I like about when I feed the sheep every day. I'm always looking at who's filling out to a good sheep and who's not. So when I look down here, so that is a real good sheep right there. I'm going to see who is he from. So that is a Glad son. But again, I'm looking right down the top, really good tops on these guys. So I'm just walking down here, and I'm just looking who's filling out and who's not. But we've handpicked these all summer, so these are our best sheep we have. And there's a few dorsets right there. So yeah, I'm up pretty high, so I'm looking down on them. And these are the adults here. So that's a yearling Dorset. This is a yearling lamb from Hilton that we held back. He's a QR. He's probably the best ram I had last year in the Suffolks. He's a yearling. We did not use him. He's probably going to get used next year. So I'm looking at, there's Monty right there, you see? He's a good framey guy. There's Casanova. It's kind of a little bit like a pig getting in there. So you're just looking at him, and you're looking at the top lines. That's probably the best Dorset we had of our own that we produced. Lynn showed that at the fairs. Didn't do really well with it. I don't know why, because it's a fantastic Dorset in my eyes. And this is an RR Dorset right here. That's probably the best Dorset ram we had last year. He's an RR. I like him a lot. He really filled out well. But you can see he's good and even right down the back. So that's one judgment we make. And then from there, we start to look how correct his feet is. But we don't tolerate any sheep with bad feet. We pull them out. So I don't even want to sell a sheep with a bad foot. So I'm going to show you who I'm looking at here. So I'll keep looking at that guy there. Oh, that was a glad son right there. Just walked in. So yeah, I'm just looking at those tops, see how they do and how they're filling out and how they're maturing out. Yeah, a bunch of these sheep should be ending up at the Classic. We have so many of them, and I'm saying lots of these would do really well at the Classic. I'm trying to find my good ram from Glad. We were showing him today, but I don't have a correct mark on him. Oh, that's him right there. That one there is probably the most correct Dorset in this group. Lynn says he's a Glad son, and he's fantastic on the top line. Nothing wrong with that sheep at all. The legs are almost perfect. I think they're pretty well perfect, the legs in that one. Anyway, so yeah, my point is when I feed the sheep, I can look down on them and I can see what the tops look. And then from there, we look how they're walking and how they stand on their feet. And yeah, just trying to make good sheep, eh? That's all we're trying to do. So I'm done feeding here tonight. So this whole group here was, these have all been born last January, February. So they will become yearlings shortly. And that will be the crop of rams that we're selling next spring. And next summer, a lot of these will all be sold off. So, and there's a bunch of mature sheep in here. That's Casanova. Got a big monster head on him. Anyways, I better get going.